But not everybody's John Dutton, Brian. Also, everybody who thinks you're John Dutton, quit acting like you're John Dutton. Like, who gives a freaking crap?
All right, boys and girls, welcome back to TTC Cars. My name is Brian, and this is Craig right here. He's going to run camera, and we're going to talk about the exterior of this Elantra. This is a 2023 Elantra Limited. I'm going to hand it over to Craig. And here it is. It is in red, which is a good color, and it has angles. And this tells you the designers don't have a protractor. If you look here, and then there, and then there, and then there, and then there, there's a lot of straight compound angles. If that's your cup of tea, you're going to love this thing. But I'm just going to put it out there. It's not an ugly car, but it's not going to be for everybody. Just know that. Take it to the front. I want to point some things out here. Look at this snout. Look at this snoz right here. Not for everybody again, but that's okay. It is different. I do appreciate it, and it's not gloss black. It's black chrome gloss. And this car has about 1,100 miles on it, which means it's not scratched yet. But after a few car washes, you will have scuff marks because this band right here goes all the way around both sides of the bumper. It will scratch like gloss black on an interior piece. I don't know why they're putting this on the outside of a car. It's just a bad idea for longevity. All that covered, let's go down the side. Oh, we can't forget, Craig. It has wheels, and they are a shape, and they're round. That's great. To the back, we have some fake inlets here. These aren't actually doing anything, but they look pretty cool. They do actually do nothing, but it's an aesthetic thing. And the biggest design thing variable here that I think is neat is this continuation of the back glass that comes down. This is gloss black. I don't want to scuff it because it's going to scratch. It's going to scratch anyways, but it gives this stretched look to the car. The designers kind of wanted that on purpose. Wanted to look long and low, and this makes it look like it elongates the rear glass. The downside is, Craig, this is not a hatchback. This is just a short trunk opening. So when I open it, the black part goes with it, but your opening is really short this way. So if you have something that's kind of longer, like you go to IKEA and get half your dorm room, it's not going to fit in here very well. Because you can't really, you have to pitch it down and then in, it's going to hit here, and you got to get over the threshold. But if it's just groceries and like backpacks, the volume is huge. It's a big volume. It goes all the way down there, and you probably fit 2 or 3 Craigs in there. That is good. That's pretty much it. Let's hop to the interior and see what we got going on there.
All right, Brian, let's do the interior of this bad boy. And this is, in the premium compact, I don't know, it's compact sedan with all the options. This is not bad. You get the fake leatherette, whatever you want to call that. You get a matte pocket on the passenger side, but strangely not on the driver's side. I don't know why they do that. You do have a center armrest. That's a big deal. You don't see that in every car in this segment. I've got decent headroom. I am only 5'9", although there's a little bit of cutout. It would probably be okay for a taller person, but maybe not the greatest, but it's not the worst. I've got plenty of room. I'm sitting behind myself. Again, it could come, but there's plenty of room for it to come back and still have room. So that's probably the key there. Let's, a big omission. It looks like there even should be rear AC here, like there's almost a cutout, and there's nothing. So that's kind of surprising. You think there would be that. So, but let's move to the front. All right, up to the front to the cockpit, the driver zone. Again, this is an Elantra Limited. It's got almost all the features. The only other Elantra that maybe would have more than this would be the Elantra N, but that's a whole different focus car. That's focused for sporting. This is focused on comfort and commuting, and it's good at that. It commutes quite well. Really no new change from the previous model year. You do have a little magnet here. You can put some magnets, maybe some fake, cactus or whatever. That would be kind of cool. Maybe a reminder for like a fridge reminder. You can just put it here instead of your fridge.
Hello Kitty magnet.
You got dual screens. Starting to see that in more and more cars. It works. It's very functional. You get a volume knob, but not a tuning knob. You do have heated seats, which is nice, and they work quite well. Automatic climate control, wireless charging, but not wireless CarPlay. You have to have a plug for that. That's annoying. Lane keep assist works great. Steering wheel feels good in your hand. All that part is great. This is a weird handle for something. I don't know what that's for. But Brian, here's the problem. You see this right here? You know what that's connected to? That is connected to a
It's time for the drive.
Time for the drive. All right, Brian, it's time to... Oh, Brian? Oh, Brian's not with us because he's sick. I mean, whatever. But I think maybe he wanted the N model. I told him it wasn't the N model. But anyways, let's go. Time to hit it. Let's see what it can do. 0 to 60, go! Probably be faster without Brian. 20, 30, 40, 50, and 60 in 8.3 seconds was our best run. Anywhere between 8.3 and 8.7. Look, for a 2-liter naturally aspirated CVT commuter car, that's not bad. Gosh, in the old days, this would have been a pretty quick car. This is not bad at all. All that combined with, you can hustle this thing pretty good and get 32, 33. If you drive responsibly, you're gonna get 36 up to, I got 42 miles per gallon on the way home from work. Driving responsibly, just going the speed limit, but highway speeds at 75, 65, like that. That's what this thing's good for. And that's where we're at. As far as ride and drive goes, there's no qualms or problems with this thing. This thing rides and drives great for what it is. It's a pretty long wheelbase, which makes it ride well. It hurts to turn in a tad. Of course, it's front wheel drive, it pushes a little bit, and they're economy tires, so it's not supposed to handle. Look, there is an Elantra in out there, and that's what we all really want, but that's not what everybody can get, and it's not practical for everybody. When you're commuting, you don't want to shift all day long, you're in traffic, you just get the automatic or CVT, and that's what this is. It's comfortable, it's relatively quiet, but it doesn't need to be a whole lot more than that. So that's kind of where we're at. It's roomy, everything works, sight lines are good, steering's not completely terrible, but gosh darn it, I hate to keep going back to this and harping on it, and I almost feel like we're being a little too harsh, but this CVT just saps all the joy out of it. It truly does. I know it's not what matters to most people, but if Brian was here, he would be telling you that's the problem with this car, and he's exactly right. And that's why we would consider maybe something that has a traditional auto if you're forced to have something that's automatic. Mazda 3s out there have a traditional auto. The Volkswagen Jetta out there has a traditional auto. To be fair, its competitors, a lot of its competitors have CVTs. The Honda Civic, the Nissan Sentras, they have CVTs. So, as far as CVTs go, it's not one of the worst, but the problem is CVTs are what they are. It doesn't matter what they're in, whether it's a side-by-side or a car or anything, even if it's a good CVT, you can still tell they're CVTs, and that's just a struggle. With that, this has got the Hyundai great lane keep assist, lane centering, radar cruise control. It works in here and it works well, and it's smart and it makes sense, and that's nice. If there's a positive about this car, it's that there is no fake engine noise piped in here. I'll give it that. That's kind of nice. With that, there's not a whole lot else. Let's get to our final comments and give you the wrap on that. All right, Brian, it's time to wrap up our final thoughts on the Hyundai Elantra Limited.
And you darn sure have some.
Oh, I've got some, all right. Here's the thing though, Brian. It's a compact sedan with all the options, and a lot of people are buying those because they want comfort and they want to commute to get some mileage.
Yep.
Does this do well at that?
Yeah, it actually does that. It gets 35 is what I was seeing. What were you seeing on your drive?
I don't know. I was seeing 36, 37 because I was being responsible.
That's pretty
I
good.
got 42 on the way home one day.
Dang, I was just driving and I was getting 35.
So who are its main competitors?
Definitely, first thing I think of is Jetta, Civic, Sentra.
Okay.
You had a wild card which kind of like wrecked all
my wild card is the Mazda 3 because if you're getting a compact sedan and all the features, you want some premium feel. I think a Mazda 3 is a good thing to consider in that they're all around $26,000 to $28,000. Right. All those cars.
Well, if you get the non-turbo Mazda, it's priced just like this.
Exactly.
If you get the turbo Mazda, it's like almost 35.
And I think both of us land on a particular car in that segment. I think you're landing on the Jetta.
Yeah, for this kind of money, I'm going, a Jetta GLI is within stone's throw of this.
But we're talking about non-sport versions.
Not because the Elantra N is, by the way, we'll end on that in a minute. But if you're going for the non-performance variant of the subcompact,
that's what I'm talking about.
The Jetta has a ton of room. Which is what this car's strong point is too. And it's just a little quieter on the highway, and it has the 1.5 turbo, which used to be the 1.4, the single turbo deal, which has a ton of around town shove. Like it's a good little motor. This thing has to rev to the moon with a CVT. It's just not a fun experience.
And I would go with the Mazda 3 because you get a traditional automatic, non-CVT. The problem with the Civic, it's really good, but it's got a CVT.
Right.
This has got a CVT.
Right.
Sentra's got a CVT.
The Jetta has a traditional auto, and the Mazda has a traditional
The
auto.
Jetta and the Mazda have traditional autos, and we would probably, not surprisingly, end up there.
Yeah, in fact, they're both great.
But
yeah,
the most important thing is, so those are the non-sport compact sedan models with all the features.
sure.
In all those cars, there's a hot variant.
Yes.
And this car has the Elantra N, which we've driven before, and it is incredible and solves all the CVT problems. This is a good chassis, actually.
It embarrasses everything in its competition. We drove, and I'm not trying to call out Volkswagen directly, but we drove the GLI the same morning, back to back.
Yeah.
I almost had an off from that GLI because it was so numb. The Elantra, I kept thinking, is this all-wheel drive?
It was incredible.
It put power down unbelievably, and it made the right sounds and right pops and crackles. So much personality. Still the ugly nose that this thing has, but that's subjective.
But you don't care once you put the foot down, so it doesn't matter.
It's one of the few cars I go, man, I personally don't think it's an attractive looking design. I would buy it anyways. It is
Absolutely.
so good.
And it's so loud that if you're in California, you're getting in trouble.
You have to sell a car because some numbnut cop. Yeah. But that's really it.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty. I'm a little perplexed as to why this type of car is in the fleet, because I feel like if you're going to buy the non-performance variant of this car, wouldn't you just get the cheaper, like non-leather?
Yeah.
Like 22.
And we had it
25?
before. We had it last year. We loved it.
It was awesome.
It was fun.
Yeah, but it was like $3,000 less than this.
Yeah, that's probably the real answer. Honestly, if you're in this segment to buy a compact sedan, get the mid-grade trim because you're going
Right.
to save about $5,000, and there you go. Because once you bump to that 27 number, you're real close to some really cool sport models, and just get those.
But even then, if you're not a sporting driver, you just want size because you're American.
Yeah.
Well, you can get a cloth Sonata for that.
Right. Exactly.
That's kind of why this particular trim is a little confusing. That's all.
And with all that bad advice, thanks for watching Texas Car Channel.
TTC Cars, thanks for watching.
TTC Cars.
And we'll see you next time.
Check us on the Soch.
Boy. All right.
All right. While I've got you, audience, I'm going to go on a Yellowstone rant. Also, a Brian funny story. So Brian cannot help himself. He thinks everybody is John Dutton, and I'll give him credit. A lot of people around here think they are John Dutton and that you better stay off my lawn and my property, blah, 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 because it's Texas and everything's privately owned, whatever. But not everybody's John Dutton, Brian. Also, everybody who thinks you're John Dutton, quit acting like you're John Dutton. Like, who gives a freaking crap? Anyways, a lot of times when we're shooting, someone will come up to us and ask if we need help. Well, they don't just ask if we need help like it's very genuine. Like, it's great if they ask and need help. But I know they're not genuine because they come up to us and go, as they're filming our cars and are focused on our tag numbers, do you need help? Do you need help? And it just sits Brian through the roof. And I get it because it's frustrating to me too. But it's funny to see that, and it's annoying for someone to ask help with the phone up. I mean, just, what are you doing? I mean, come on. That's just a little ridiculous. So, Brian, hope you enjoyed that. If you want to put that in there, fans, hope you enjoyed it. There you go.